So let's ground. I'll be doing most of this practice from a seated position. You could do this in your bed. You could do this uh, standing. But wherever you are just now, arrive. And I was going to start fidgeting and adding more support, but I think don't fidget yet. We'll refine our posture in a moment. Just arrive. Just like freeze tag. Where are you now? And just notice that. And bring yourself fully to this moment. What does that mean? Your body is here, but our attention may be in a different place on different topics. Our mind may have a speed to it, a feel of the speed. Our breath may be a certain way. It is a certain way, but how is it? We can check. Is it shallow? Is it almost hard to notice? Is it real obvious? So today's theme is, I called it, it's an inside job. And many pointers to the yoga path from the ancient teachers and texts to current teachers have pointed me in the direction of do the work on art myself. The practice is here. However many teachers may give us things, teach us, guide us, enlighten us, whatever it is we're working on a physical, emotional, relational level, energetic, it is all we have. We have all we need right here, and we can become more skilled, more agile at shifting states, at seeing more of ourself. Um, Thomas Hubel, a teacher who brings together meditation and our somatic awareness, you may easily find him on YouTube. He recently, I saw a video of him talking about uh, our bodies are a library, are like a library. Our being is a library, and it's a library that goes back infinity in time, many generations. So all our experiences are recorded in this human library, this personal library. And we tend to have sorted them out and just focus on some, and some are very functional, and some are very helpful, and other aspects of our library are maybe reactions that are confusing to us or repeating and not helpful anymore, but probably had a purpose when it initially happened. And uh, so when we begin to welcome every book in this library, every topic, and start to see it, to read it, to understand it, we start to see the whole fabric and together. And it also, there's a way that each book and the metaphor um, collapses here for me, but the experience that was there uh, uh, might have been fitting for the time and even helped us survive and protected us, or gave us joy at the time, but it may not. It may actually hinder our clear seeing, our ability to be effective in our relationships and joyful now. So simply by entertaining and I'm choosing this word carefully. Sometimes I could say welcoming, but initially we may not want to welcome some things that are it might not be wise for us to. It's too close, it triggers us. So we can use techniques like imagine this emotion that arises, we put it in a box, we put it aside, we put it in a different room. We know it's there. We're we know we're in relationship to it. We may even know it's a part of us, and we just want to cultivate our curiosity and see what we need to do to feel safe in the way we can start unpacking it. And sometimes, like it's like another metaphor. It's like a sandwich that was left in your office desk drawer over weeks or months, and I don't know why you didn't smell it, but maybe it was in a container and or a soup or something, and then when you open it, it's horrendous smell. So so I, uh, credit Jackie, my friend and yoga teacher, meditation teacher, Jackie Schaefer, with that metaphor from a therapist, I think. Um, so we may need to find a wise way to not be overpowered by the smell, get a mask, close our nose, something, but there's a way to deal with that and get rid of it or recycle it or compost it. So as we deal with these things that come up or any uncomfortable thing that happens, what I'm proposing today, and I didn't finish our grounding, I kind of got off on my topic, but I'll continue it. I'm proposing that we put left hand, right hand on the heart and breathe. This is a practice a teacher of mine, Russell Delman, introduced and says is so valuable when you're struggling in any way or some way to be our own self soother, to find our own source of comfort in our heart, our breath, in being able to flip on the part of our nervous system that helps us calm, quiet, rest, digest. And I have to confess that I have had a hard time remembering it in the throes of it. I remember it from time to time. Friends of mine, we've talked about this tool we have at our right here at our hands. And even if you're in a public place and you don't want to make a gesture like this for any reason, I mean, might be a good thing to model to the rest of the world just to stop and quiet. I used to when I'd be in the mall or in that what I call like slow mall walking or museum walking, and my back would start to ache. I would grab hold of a railing or something and do a half dog, down dog to that to that thing, and would think, heck, I don't care who's saying thinking what about this strange woman doing this strange movement in public because maybe it's something spread that kind of permission to do those kinds of things in public. But if you don't, you could just even imagine yourself giving yourself a hug or giving your young self a hug or holding yourself in some way or have an image of maybe yourself as an infant and being held and swaddled and comforted. So let's come back to, I'm going to just stretch out my legs for a moment. And so you'll choose the position you'll be in for our little movement practice, and this will be complemented with a little imagining visualization. And from that, we'll segue into about 8 minutes of meditation. So, um, yeah, you can change your position for each of those, or you can keep the same one. All right, so coming back to that feeling of having arrived, and just begin to sense your relationship to the ground. ground. This is just too tempting to not do. I'm going to show you my arrived pets, their bodies as they accept the ground. They're such great models for that, aren't they? They fully accept the ground as it is here for us. And so the ground, as we practiced last week, we're in this vertical force of gravity that pulls down. Gravity pulls downward, but it has this complementary opposite force of levity. And when we find it, when we let our body settle, especially I like to go the down movement first, we when we really let it settle, we sort of feel more parts of ourself. We feel maybe the hip, feel the shoulder. And even if you're lying down and there's less mass of you in a vertical perspective, still, we can still feel all the parts of us and how they line up. And you might imagine this gravity, any line is a vertical line that goes right down from wherever we are in this atmosphere to the center of the earth. But there's a whole grid of this. So any point going through, say, just a little back on my shoulder comes through and go down from the top of my head that we often cite to and down from my thigh. At one point drops a plumb line down, and all of them together help us feel our body's relationship to this planet Earth and that tether. And so let yourself have the downward one, and the upward one, the levity, the buoyancy will come very easily once you find the downward pull. Breathing. And now come to there's more cues I could give you, but I think this will suffice for today. So we come to our breath. That's the second of the three, so I'll use at least those two today. And I'm placing my hand on my heart already, just to help me sense the breath. You might put a hand on the belly, anywhere you might, not anywhere, but certain places where the breath and our sensing of the breath or the way the body interacts with the breath. Maybe the jaw and throat. Maybe even the back of your neck. You might bow your head, or you might press your palms or the heels of your palms into your forehead, or even lean down and that's a fabulous point to points on the forehead to press into, or tap with your fingers like little butterfly feet as we feel the breath. And think of a time, I'm going to have two visualizations. Think of a time when you felt everything's easy. Could have been, for me, I just thought of, we had just had a really pleasant morning walk. Temperature was nice, very few people out, um, just just around our neighborhood, seeing a few people and their dogs, a few runners. And place your hand or hands on your heart and just feel and sense your breath and the feel of self-care. And when everything's lined up, everything's just feeling good. How self-care, it's just a given at that point. And notice how you feel, how the belly feels, the lower belly, the shoulders, your eyes, behind the eyes, the forehead, the spine, the back. You may notice a sense of being relaxed, at ease. The more specific you can be, the better. a certain just right for me temperature. So see what's like just Goldilocks that is true for me now, but it's in the memory of that. And the memory is if you're conjuring it up right here and now, it's present. It's in the present tense, even though we're drawing on the past, memory, imagination. And so you can come back to this one as much as you need, or at any point you need if the following one gets too rocky. But I would invite you also to choose something now difficult, but not too difficult. Something, maybe just a little irritation, not the biggest thing that triggers you to extreme anger that's been happening in your family relationship of some sort or for a long time, but something a little easier, like a small irritation, maybe with some people that you don't even know, maybe in traffic or and bring that one to mind as fully as you can. That that instance, and you might even this might be partly imaginary, but the important thing is that you feel as if it's present right here as you're telling you the story that story to yourself. And if you've done a lot of this kind of work, you probably have the capacity to go to something more difficult, different order of magnitude. And notice, you might notice I'm gonna say some things, but yours could be different. And again, the more specific, the more granular, the better. So a little tightening around the core, almost like around my trachea and esophagus and down toward my upper belly. A little restricting of the breath, a little heating up of my face, almost a tightening, like a not big, but a little bit inside. And then bring your hands again, left hand on the front heart, right hand on top, and bring just a breathing like a care, a self care. And my teacher's words, I haven't adopted these yet, but something like, oh, dear one, or just there. Not necessarily everything's going to be okay. That could be yours, but just and acknowledging the difficulty and offering comfort, offering support, kindness, and notice the result of this in your body. And perhaps you've shifted back to that same quiet calm as we had with the first visualization. Perhaps not. And in any case, bring yourself to a more comfortable place if you're not there. And you might have used that technique if you brought up something way too scary, put it in a box, put it over there, deal with it later or bit by bit, small steps. And then, with as little disturbance as possible, segue to our meditation, which will be roughly 6.5 minutes. But we've already changed the energy, the brain waves. You may feel something is different in your body than it was when we began this practice together. And for me, I just make a small adjustment of bringing my mudra to my hands, which keep promising to talk about this. I'll do it next week. I'll mark my calendar and do it next week. This mudra, or however you choose to be in stillness and silence, using whatever tools you need to keep coming back to resting, breathing, simply being. And in that simply being, we tap into the awareness that we are, capital A, boundless awareness that is like a like a borderless camera that catches everything and has no need to react, to judge, to do anything, just simply allow. It just does that. It doesn't have to try. So enjoy your journey and our journey together. From time to time, you might notice the impulses to move. And there's no need to punish yourself if you do, but you can notice that as well. Let being notice that. Enjoy, relax. Offer self care. A few more breaths together. I know this platform doesn't pick up the bell so well, but I like to still use it as I forgot on the beginning, but on the closing of our practice as well. So just check in with yourself. We're on this threshold of transition, or you can choose to stay in the meditation longer, but there always will be a threshold. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for doing this practice to benefit yourself, which by benefiting yourself, this inside job, it benefits all beings everywhere. And may it, we could ask for that, we can hope for that, but I believe it does. So, the homework I'll be practicing, trying to remember in the throes of whatever thing is happening as we're always being, always becoming this path we're walking together, checking in, offering self care. Thanks so much. Mm. Rocky used to join me when we got him going on 3 years ago. He used to always sit right next to me during meditation. He can be a little farther from me these days. Also, credit to my neighbor again for these amazing. Oh my God, I wonder how they'll come along. These dahlias are just incredible. Oops, I go that way. Thank you, Dan. See you next time.